Beaver News. An OSU student wins at the Portland Fashion Show, HPV shots for boys, and protests in Yemen. All that and more on KBVR.
That was quick. Good evening, Corvallis, and welcome to your Wednesday night edition of Beaver News. We're glad to have you with us. I'm Anthony Brost.
And I'm Courtney Cossette. 3 campus environmental groups collaborated to bring its own International Forest Film Festival here on campus. Oregon State University's College of Forestry Student Sustainability Initiative and International Forestry Student Association joined forces with the Corvallis Sustainability Coalition and Majestic Theater as hosts of the Corvallis International Forest Film Festival. Dominique Loberg of the Daily Barometer reports more than 160 films from 30 countries placed in 6 categories were evaluated by 50 judges, finalizing winners in each category. The films will be shown free of charge to attendees in order to welcome a non-specific audience. Showtimes are always at 7 p.m. and are available on 2 separate dates for the same film, this week at either the Majestic Theater or in Richardson 107.
Amidst the devastating loss of life due to flooding in Thailand, a local restaurant is doing what they can do to help out. This Saturday, October 29th, Thai Chili, located on Monroe and 14th, will be donating 100% of their proceeds from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. to help flooding victims in an attempt to make this enormous struggle more manageable. An $8 minimum donation will get you a meal of grilled rice, chicken, broccoli with oyster sauce, spring rolls, stir-fried crispy tofu with basil, and juice. Thomas Evans, a Thai Chili employee, said, quote, "You should come because you'll be saving lives and satisfying your hunger."
As many design majors of OSU are spending countless hours brainstorming and constructing new designs, one student is aggressively designing her own destiny, standing out a little more than her fellow classmates. Senior Amanda Grisham entered the elite Portland Fashion Show held on October 5th, a venue usually reserved for veteran designers, and as the sole student designer participating in the fashion show, Grisham won the competition. Grisham recalls how she first heard about the Portland Fashion Show through the apparel design department at Oregon State University. And when she learned that OSU was no longer participating, she emailed Fashion Week, used her gas money for the entry fee, and without even telling her parents, she auditioned and won with flying colors. She told Kelly Ward of the Daily Barometer that she has always wanted to be a designer and says, quote, "Being a designer has been a natural organic path for me," end quote. Gresham notes her inspiration in her designs come from the Pacific Northwest.
Last weekend, the OSU swim team flew down to Santa Barbara for a dual meet. UCSB defeated OSU with 158 points to the Beavers' 108 points. Notable races include Shelby Weber, incoming freshman, swam the 200 freestyle in 1:52.45 seconds. Rachel O'Brien, Jr., came in first with the 200 fly with 2 minutes 1.18 seconds. Dakota Blosh, freshman, swam the 500 freestyle in 5 minutes 4 seconds. This team will be back late in the water this weekend at Dixon Recreational Pool at 12 o'clock Saturday when they take on the Seattle University Redhawks.
When the Senate met last night to discuss the open trial of now impeached ASOSU President Tonga Hapoi, set for November 1st in the Memorial Union Lounge, they found the trial is shaping up to be a major political showdown, reports David Shumway of the Daily Barometer. Also during the Tuesday night ASOSU meeting, Senator Hans Kuhn submitted his official letter of resignation to be read by the assembled Senate in his absence. Although President pro tempore Brett Deaton and the rest of the Senate voted to forego an open reading of the letter, copies were made available to attendees stating Senator Kuhn's main reason for resigning is to focus on his mounting academic responsibilities. The senator's departure leaves yet another vacancy at the Senate table, which now stands at less than 11 active senators. The other main development of the evening was a presentation from several delegates of Oregon Student Association, who had made the trip to Corvallis to weigh in on discussion of H.R. 3.03 entitled OSA Funding, now in its second reading. The measure was first suggested by members of the House of Representatives immediately following President Happoi's impeachment. If passed, H.R. 3.03 would reallocate due funds guaranteed to OSA that had been canceled by President Happoi.
The Political Identity Project at OSU is giving students a way to voice their political views through recordings that will be made available on Oregon State University iTunes and YouTube channels. Camille Jacobson Ingram of the Daily Barometer reports that project was created by Christian Mathis after grading papers for a class and realizing how well students were able to write about their life experiences in political theory. The overall goal of PIP is the students consider their own political identities and become more understanding of the views of those around them. With PIP coordinator Alia Beyer adding, quote, "This project allows us to get inside the heads, hearts, and histories of students and effectively get to know them on a deeper level. The prompt these students had to speak on really breaks down on what makes them tick as active agents on our society. It opens up to understanding each other as real people." We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because we'll be back with your national stories in just a few minutes.
Pants. I am folding the pants. The pants are long.
Do they go on my head? Do they? Do the pants go on my head? No. They go on.
Everyday moments can become teaching moments because learning starts long before school does. Give your child the start they need at bornlearning.org.
So you can't save money? That's easy as pie. Brown bag your lunch instead of going out. $6 save times 5 days a week times 10 years is $21,000. That's a lot of lettuce. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feedthepig.org.
Hair loss. Now this rash on my face, what's going on?
For answers, ask your doctor the right question.
Could I have lupus?
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
Horseradish. Is that for horses? Remember me, Mr. Lobster? From last Tuesday? Banana. 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 Here comes the rain. We need a hat. And why do we need a hat? They dry. That's right.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org.
Welcome back to the Beaver News here on KBVR. A soon-to-be Miss America contestant has not always been what you would consider a typical beauty queen. Wearing a size 18 pants, Bree Boyce watched as her older sister competed in many beauty pageants, wishing she one day could do the same. At the age of 17, Bree Boyce weighed 234 pounds, and now only 5 years later, she has lost 112 pounds and is the newly crowned Miss South Carolina. As a teen, Boyce tried several weight loss gimmicks, but she'd always slip back into her old habits because the hunger returned with such intensity. After going to the doctor for her knee problems at age 17, she became serious about getting healthy and losing the weight. Boyce's health battle is not rare in her home state. In South Carolina, about 31% of the population is considered obese.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices voted Tuesday to recommend that males ages 11 to 21 be vaccinated against the human papilloma virus. HPV is known to cause cancer in women and men, and at least half of the sexually active people in the United States will have HPV in their lifetime. Previously, the vaccine had not been heavily promoted for males. CNN reports that there was a lot of debate whether or not it would be cost-effective if boys had gotten the vaccine. There are 3 doses administered over half a year at $120 each. One of the arguments is to get vaccinated before being sexually active, making the recommended age to be about 11 to 12 years of age. The vaccine has been proven effective, and according to CDC, quote, vaccines have been tested in thousands of people around the world. These studies showed no serious safety concerns. Common mild adverse events reported during these studies include pain where the shot was given, fever, dizziness, and nausea.
Police sprayed tear gas into a crowd of about 500 protesters in Oakland, California Tuesday. CNN reports that protesters of Occupy Wall Street defied calls to leave an area in downtown Oakland. Police also say that protesters had been camping out in several areas of the city for weeks, including right by City Hall. Across the country, more arrests were made Tuesday involving protesters of Occupy Wall Street in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. It is unclear how many people were arrested in the two cities. However, an affiliate of CNN reports at least 85 people were taken to jail in an early morning raid in one part of Oakland. Oakland and Atlanta are two of many cities worldwide dealing with the Occupy Wall Street protests, the leaderless movement that started in New York in September.
Chimpanzee Coco escaped from the Dallas Zoo Tuesday, and CNN is reporting that the zoo went into code red at 10:15 a.m. However, Coco was soon recovered and shot with a tranquilizer dart. Lynn Kramer, deputy director of the zoo, said, quote, our staff was never in any danger and the public was never in contact with her. She never left the chimp house, end quote. This is not the first time that the Dallas Zoo has had an animal escape. In 2004, a 380-pound male gorilla was able to escape and had to be killed after it attacked 3 people. Investigations have been launched to see if Coco's escape was due to human error or cage malfunction.
The parents of 11-month-old Lisa Irwin, who went missing in early October, say they will not agree to have unrestricted interviews. Kansas City Police Captain Steve Young said Tuesday investigators had planned to conduct the separate parent interviews, but on Wednesday the couple declined, reports CNN. Cindy Short, the attorney representing the parents, said the couple does not mind being interviewed separately as long as the detectives are fair, open-minded, and non-accusatory, and that the couple has already been interviewed separately on previous occasions. Lisa was reported missing at about 4 a.m. October 4th after her father, Jeremy Irwin, arrived home from work to find the door unlocked, the lights on, and a window that had been tampered with. The girl's mother, Deborah Bradley, said she last saw Lisa at 6:40 p.m. the night before. Bradley said in an NBC interview last week that she was drunk the night Lisa disappeared. Lisa's two older brothers were both previously questioned very briefly. However, details are being worked out for Lisa's half-brothers who were in the family's home the night she disappeared to be re-interviewed by authorities on Friday, Kansas City police said today.
New York City Department of Education has released a new sex education curriculum, causing some conservative groups to raise complaints. CNN reports that one such group, the NYC Parents' Choice Coalition, held a press conference on Monday to discuss their concerns with the new program, including what they see as a lack of focus on abstinence. The Department of Education responded by acknowledging that abstinence would still be part of the curriculum, but that it would now be taught along with far more in-depth instruction regarding safe sex practices. New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg supports the change, saying, quote, "We have a responsibility when you have an out-of-wedlock birth rate and a sexually transmitted disease rate that we have in the city to try to do something about it. Shame on us if we don't."
As Halloween approaches, students at Ohio University are taking a stand against dressing up as racial stereotypes. And their message to the public is, quote, "We're a culture, not a costume," end quote. CNN reports that members of the school's students teaching about racism in society are launching a campaign to make people think twice before reducing a culture into an offensive misrepresentation, the group's president said. In a seasonal point of controversy, but even after widely publicized controversies such as the ghetto fab wig at Kohl's and Target's illegal alien jumpsuit, costumes of stereotypes are plenteous. Posters from the campaign were expected to go up on the Athens, Ohio campus today. Meanwhile, the images are making the rounds online. As this campaign goes viral, landing on blogs and other schools' online publications, it is raising the debate whether it is ever okay for people to paint their faces black, impersonate a racial stereotype for fun, and where to draw the line. So far, the response in the editorial sections has been positive, but in the comment sections, not everyone thinks it is a message that needs to be reinforced. We are now going to get a weather update from Brittany War.
Good evening, Beavers. I'm Brittany here with this week's weather. Tomorrow you're going to have a pretty sunny day, but please bring your jackets. It's going to be a little cold with a high of 55 and a low of 45. Friday, bring your rain jackets and your umbrellas, but a high of 56 and a low of 45 with showers all day. Saturday, you'll see a little peek of the sun, but pretty much overcast and cloudy, high of 59, a low of 45. And Sunday, for your Sunday fun day, you'll have bright sunshine, but it'll be a high of 59, a low of 45. Monday, starting your week off all right, but we'll have a high of 56 and a low of 38 with overcast shadows all day. I'm Brittany Ware, back to you guys.
We are taking one final break for the evening, but we'll have your international stories when we return.
When you open a book, you can explore new lands, make new friends, and discover new adventures. There are amazing possibilities when you open your mind to reading. Explore new worlds. Read.
Just put your hands up, TV land. Yo. Paradise is lost, I'm paralyzed by the imperative cause. She's sharing a coffin with the gods that I've crossed. And day by day I'm looking for another outlet. I shout, but I've yet to be heard. The fear of flying, broken wings of a bird. The feelings unnerved, absurd with my word. A pseudo-intellectual that's just dying to serve. A fallen angel, fate filled with flaws and misfortune. Claw marks on the side of the well. The people attempting to torture. Swords drawn to the necks of the demons. Another metaphor, me just trying to protect all my feelings. A criminal dealings led us to the brink that's demonic. Born an angel, but I bring it back a plate that's bubonic. A prophet like the narcotic product you got up in your pocket with more shock value than an electrical socket. The angel act, I dropped it like the sword of that to Loki. So while you're on your deathbed, speak those words that you told me. Come on. You told me, you told me, you told me. You told me, you told me, you told me.
Heart disease must for 5,000 miles average.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, call today because nothing is worse than doing nothing.
have a banana.
Eating well and playing go together like best friends.
You better believe it.
With the food pyramid, the bare necessities of living healthy are easy.
Bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
So eat right. Be active.
Now move. That's it.
And don't forget to have fun. That's the way to be the best.
You're lots of fun, Baloo.
At anything you do. You can go to mypyramid.gov to play some games and find out more.
Welcome back to the Beaver News live on Channel 26. In a protest against President Ali Abdullah Saleh's vicious crackdown on anti-government demonstrations, thousands of Yemeni women gathered in the capital Sana'a and defiantly burned their traditional veils on Wednesday, reports CNN. The women carried banners that read, quote, "Saleh the butcher is killing women and is proud of it," and "Women have no value in the eyes of Ali Saleh." They collected all of their veils and scarves and set them ablaze. This highly symbolic act in the conservative Islamic nation is a response to the attacks of over 60 women by the government in just October alone, says protester Rukai Nasser, adding the government forces are raiding homes and killing children. The women's protest came after the Yemeni government announced a ceasefire Tuesday, but that does not appear to be holding. At least 10 people died and dozens were injured earlier Tuesday in clashes between Yemeni government security forces in the country's capital and the province of Taiz, medical officials reported.
The nation of Tunisia was the first to overthrow its dictator in what would be called the Arab Spring, and now have another first to add to their list. CNN is reporting that on Sunday, Tunisia became the first country involved in the Arab Spring to hold an election. And even more impressively is the election is being considered both free and fair by international observers. Millions of Tunisians voted on Sunday for representatives to fill a 217-person assembly whose first task will be to write a new constitution. Mohamed Kamez Junab, the head of the country's election commission, announced on Monday that over 80% of the nation's registered voters cast ballots the previous day. With some waiting 3 hours and lines wrapping around polling stations, this was Tunisia's first national election since it became independent in 1956. Jane Harman, a former U.S. Congresswoman from California who now heads the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, had to say this about the historic election, quote, "Tunisia has set a marker here, a marker for what you do from a standing start. They had nothing going on here except 2 decades of autocratic, corrupt rule until 9 months ago. This is how you do a fair election. This is how people participate, and this is how you open it to the world to see it."
Bangkok, Thailand is experiencing the highest flood levels yet, and the governor of the Thai capital says they are preparing for the worst. Residents are urged to flee the rising floodwaters, which have caused the Bangkok's Don Mueang airport to shut down. CNN reports that Thailand's government declared a 5-day public holiday in flood-affected provinces to try to encourage people to seek safety elsewhere before the high tides that are expected this weekend. However, the Bangkok governor stresses that authorities cannot evacuate a whole city and many people are reluctant to leave their homes despite the risk. Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra said in a televised address Tuesday night that the capital could be submerged by as much as 4.9 feet of water. The government has set up more than 1,700 shelters nationwide and more than 113,000 people have taken refuge. The United States has already provided civilian relief resources and 2 U.S. helicopters are helping the Thai military survey the extent of the flooding. Authorities said nationwide the floods have killed 373 people and affected more than 9.5 million people.
CNN is reporting that the over $6 billion that seemed to have vanished the early days of the Iraq War has now been recovered according to documents from the Special Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction, or SIGIR. Though the money has been believed to have gone astray, new reports are now showing that the money was where it was supposed to be all along, under the control of the Iraqi government. The initial loss was believed to occur when Coalitional Provisional Authority went out of business in the summer of 2004 with the creation of the new Iraq government. In response to the loss at the time, Stuart Bowen, Inspector General, had said, quote, "It has not been properly accounted for," end quote. But this is now responding in a different fashion, saying, quote, SIGIR was able to account for the unexpected DFI funds remaining in DFI accounts when the CPA, Coalitional Provisional Authority, dissolved in June 2004, end quote. The new report now says, quote, sufficient evidence exists showing that almost all of the remaining $6.6 billion remaining was transferred to the actual and legal CBI, or Central Bank of Iraq, control, end quote.
European Union officials said that they've reached a broad agreement on a plan to boost bank reserves. The agreement would require banks to boost core capital levels to 9% after accounting for declines in the value of euro area government bonds, including debt issued by Greece. The banks would have until the end of June 2012 to meet those new requirements, reports CNN. This bank recapitalization plan is subject to the approval of a package of policies that euro area leaders are currently debating at a summit in Brussels. The overarching goal of the exercise is to foster confidence in the European banking sector, said European Councilman President Herman Van Rompuy.
A sad turn of events for environmentalists, scientists, and animal lovers all across the globe. The World Wildlife Fund has announced that the rare Javan rhinoceros is now extinct in Vietnam after poachers in that country have killed the last one, presumably for its horns. CNN reports that many in Vietnam believe that the horns can be ground and used for medicinal purposes, including the treatment of fevers and cancer. Though the WWF says that there is no scientific basis for the horns as a miracle drug, in a statement, Dr. Barney Long, WWF's Asian species expert, said this, quote, Vietnam must see this loss as another warning sign of its looming wave of species extinctions. The single most important action that is needed to save remaining threatened species like tigers and elephants is protection, end quote. There is still currently a small population of less than 50 Javan rhinos, including living in Java, Indonesia, but they are now gone from Vietnam for good. That's all the news we have for you tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow at 7 o'clock for more local, national, and international news right here on KBVR.